Hello. My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws. And welcome to week 3 of 10 terrific trees. I'm glad that you're here. Let's see, what do we got today? I've got we have 4 trees we're gonna hit. 4 trees. And where did I put my let me get my little list here. Okay, so actually we're actually gonna do 3, but we might squeeze in an extra one. So these are the most popular trees in the United States, and I think once we get through all 10 of these, it should really give you a lot of variation of drawing different types of trees in different scenarios, and hopefully you will be thinking of trees as being more terrific instead of terrible. Okay? I just thought of that. Man, I have all kinds of puns today, right? So today we're going to look at the loblolly pine tree, a sweet gum tree, and a Douglas fir. Okay, so let's take a look at these 3 types of trees, and let's see if I'm up and going there. Okay, great. So these couple of these are in the pine family, and so you're going to come up with pine trees all the time. And I think if we come up with a way to do this, it will give you a lot of confidence. But remember, you got to stay at it. It's not going to come easy. Anything in the area of drawing, if you come to something new, I could give you tips, but you're just going to have to keep, I hate to say this, but it's just practice. It's daily practice. So this is what I want you to think of when you are approaching this. And remember, goes back to this idea of shape, shade, and shaving cream, right? That was the initial idea. Here's another way to think of it, okay? I want you to think of, when we draw this, let's think of these couple things. Let's think of variation. Okay, what do I mean by variation? Let's go through each one of these. When I'm drawing, if I lose concentration and just kind of let my mind take over, a lot of times what will happen is my mind will go into something and just create order. All right? And this is the way that your brain will ultimately start working. It will just create order. And when we're drawing trees, that's the thing we don't want to happen. So actually you have to stay focused and keep thinking of variation. So instead, variation might be something like this. You see? There's variation there. And that creates interest. So variation is our first idea. Let me just get rid of that. All right. Our next idea, of course, is value. And I would suggest when you approach value, try and stay away from gradations, but keep your value simple. You know, you might enter a values of maybe 3 values that you apply to everything. So, and the way that you could get this down is if you add there's 1 value, and let's just do that same value in all 3 squares, all right? And then we're going to come in with a little bit darker value. And then you can come in one more time and get a nice dark value. See that? So those are 3 different values. Plus you'd have the white of your page, okay? So value is second. Value is another one. And the last thing you want to think of is volume or mass. All right? When we're drawing trees, we don't really want to think of flat. We want to think of volume and mass, okay? This is this idea. All right. So that's what we're thinking of, those 3 things. So I want you to just remember variation, value, and volume. All right, those three things. All right, let's do this, and then I'm gonna leave those things up. Hi, Leah. How are you doing? How are you doing? Okay, I'll put those right up there so we can remember them. Okay, so let's start with this pine tree right here. Okay, and I want you to, you know what? I'm going to actually really make those smaller here. Okay, so let's start with a gesture. Okay, and all we're going to do on this is let's just come up with a gesture here. All right. And let's start with shape. Shape is a great idea, especially when it's going to come to getting placement of variation. So here's a big shape on top there. That's easy. Okay, let's come down a little bit. Get some variation here. And then look across. It's gonna come in here like this. You see this? That's some variation. And then we got another one kind of hanging out over here. All right. Now let's think of value. So let's start with a top here, and let's create this value where underneath, and we're going to start light here. All right, there's some value there because the light, you could see the light is coming down from on top. Let's get some value in here as well. And this I'm just going to give a solid value. I don't see a lot of change in value of that branch coming out. All right. Let's come in here now and add some thickness to our trunk. All right, so our trunk's going to come in here. Still, we're just kind of gesturing. We have that branch coming out there. There's another one here, right? Look at that variation in placement, variation in size. This is our gesture. We're just trying to get some little direction of where we're going to go here. So already in our gesture here, we've already done all three. We've used variation, value, and volume. Let's now take it one more step further and go back over those three things again, okay? So let's think of variation. So I'm going to look at the top here, and I'm going to squint my eyes and try and once again make some adjustments to my values by varying where I see darks and lights. All right, I'm going to kind of move down my tree just a bit. Where do I see darks and lights? Okay, it's starting to take shape here. I didn't understand the point of volume. Okay, great question. All right, so volume, let's just review this. If I have a circle here, this is a circle. All of a sudden, if I draw an equator, that becomes a sphere. That has volume, okay? That has volume margin. So when I'm looking at this tree now, when I'm looking at this mass up on top here, I am thinking of this as volume, meaning mass. Okay, and if you think back to our shaving cream example, this, I'm just adding lines down here to kind of demonstrate to you it has mass and volume. So I want to go beyond just shape, but actually start to think of it having, like its depth. Okay. So in that case, if this would help you, I'm just kind of adding some surface lines underneath that are going to describe the overall roundness of the form. And this is all still staying pretty light here. Okay, still staying pretty light because I'm slowly building this thing up. When we do a portrait drawing, or any kind of drawing really, you usually go from a gesture to construction, to detail. So we're really in that construction. We're just kind of building the mass right now. Keeping it nice and light. Hope that helped a little bit. Okay, so let's come in now and add some detail. Let's start to move into detail on this piece. And simultaneously, I'm asking myself, as I'm going to start adding detail, where are some of the values? Where can I make values darker? Where are my lighter values? I'm starting to look for sticks. Remember, variation is key. Variation in variation in size. Think of all the ways you can variation in value. Not really thinking too much of detail yet. I mean, of like individual leaves a little bit, but not much. Just slowly slowly working out the details here. Look at this now. Look at this now. The sun is coming from this direction. You see this? So if the sun is coming from this direction, you know, all my shading is gonna be coming down like this. So as I'm thinking of my marks, and as I'm looking at my reference, you know, this is where I want most of my darker values to be. Okay, so let's work in some of these trunks here. Get some, all right, so we're gonna come down here. Look at this beautiful one comes up. And I'm not really drawing, here's something that I noticed. You're not really drawing the outline of a trunk like this. You see that? I don't do that. I'm actually drawing the shaded part here, and then lightly adding the other side to it. You see? I think if when you do this, it's too even. It's too even. You lose that sense of variation. So as I am drawing this trunk here, I'm keeping one side of a very thick line to suggest the shadow, and the other side to be a faint line to suggest the light side. Now, down here, look at this. The leaves are overlapping the trunk, so I don't want to draw right through that. Again, working the same thing on this side here. I'm going to just keep scribbling in this dark value that represents the shadow side here. Now I'm going to come in here, and I like some of these twigs, these branches. So let's see here. Let me be inspired by what I see. Variation in the thickness of line, pushing, pulling, variation. A lot of variation here. Okay, let's get this last one in here. This is an interesting branch. So there you go. There's one tree down for you. All right. Give yourself a high five. Let's bring up another one now. Let's bring up this pine tree here. All right. Let's start again. Let's see here now. Let's bring that up. Variation, value, and volume or mass. All right, let's start off again with a nice nice gesture for a shape. Now, mind you, look at this. Let's look at this closely. Let's not jump right into this yet. I want to show you something I see right off the bat. Now, if you were going to draw a pine tree, you might be tempted to draw something like this. You see? And that doesn't have much variation, but look at this. Look at this guy coming over like this, and then look at the other side. It's not quite, you see, it's not quite symmetrical. We want to use that. We want to use that, okay? So let's think about shape as shape and gesture, right? So we're just gonna okay. Now, there are some branches that are coming straight at us. So let's use that. Let's kind of envision that. And I'm just going to put some surface lines to help remind me that some of these branches are coming out at me. Okay, these are just all quick gesture here. Okay, I'm going to add just an overall tone to this. Overall value. And I'm going to take one branch at a time and start to build this up, okay? So let's, for some reason, this is a very strong shape back in here. And I'm just going to come down here and work this guy out. I'm just kind of drawing in some of the negative shapes I see. All right, slowly building this up. It takes time. just squinting my eyes, adding value where I see value here. Really kind of staying away from outlining things. We'll use outline for our initial shapes, but then once we move on after our gesture, we're going to start applying the different values. Variation. Keep that in mind. If you need to squint your eyes, by all means. Surface lines, LIN. Oh my. Silhouette. Okay, now I'm looking at my tree and I'm seeing a problem. I've lost kind of focus on the big picture, and my tree is too much. Look at that. It's too even coming down. Okay, this is what happens. So let's, for me, I'm gonna break that up. I'm going to try and break that up a little bit just by maybe extending this branch over here. There, that's already a little bit better there. All right, I'm just kind of going in here now and seeing if I have any patterns that stand out. All right. Let's move on to another one now. Let's see here. Let's bring up this guy. Okay, here's a good one. This gets into, what's this tree here? This is called a This falls into the group like of a sweet gum tree, they call these. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at this. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to draw this gesture, and I'm going to use my shape, but also I'm really squinting my eyes. Squinting my eyes here. So right away, I know that the light is coming in from this direction, okay? So let's just kind of get the rough outline here. All right, remember our 3 V's: variation, value, and volume. So let's think of volume for a second now that I've got a nice shape here. Okay, so if I'm looking at this tree, let me bring this up here. Let me show you what I see. I'm squinting my eyes. Squint your eyes and see if you could see what I'm going to draw. I see kind of like, I see this area. I kind of see this area. That area. That area. Okay, so I'm starting to try and group these masses that I see. So let me turn that off, or I'll tell you what we'll do. We're going to tone this down. Go just like that, okay? That will help you kind of envision. All right, so I'm going to still squint my eyes. I'm going to get variation in size of shape here. we're going to turn that off. All right, I have to draw those again. Okay, there's like this grouping here. Got that grouping there. There's this group up here. One there. Okay. This is a little bit more manageable now that I've got some groups established. All right, so let's go in here and start to just add some tone within those groups of where we see the shadow happening, okay? Add some value. Okay, so we have value, variation, volume. Okay. So I'm going to start with some of my darks here, and I could see right in the middle of the tree here, I could see kind of the trunk, a nice shape. You see that? Over there, and then of course down here these branches are going out, and I've got a nice shadow behind this tree. I'm going to come up here and start adding some shapes that I see as darker value. All right, let's kind of come in here and add some more detail. I'm going to start to outline some of the lighter areas of my tree. You know, when I'm drawing leaves, I'm really I am thinking of this shape here as a leaf. I'm just doing it at a very small scale, and I'm making variations of it. So instead of doing this like this, I might do this. I might do this, skip a little bit. So I'm creating variation not only in there's not a pattern there, there's variation in line thickness, there's there's variation in separation, you see? remember, I'm thinking back to that first lesson. You're building using mass. Think of this, building this as clay. What does the clay look like as you're adding clay? Variation in value. All right. Now that I have some tone down, I'm also starting to think of the mass or the volume. Remember this, here's an idea. Here's our sphere, right? Okay, so look at this tree up. Look at this grouping right here. This is nice. This one up top there. See, that's a great mass going on there. Let's see, how many more do we have? Did we do that one? Yes, we did. Okay, I'm going to show you. I think we'll finish off with this one here. I think the key is just that you want to constantly think of you don't want to fall into a pattern. look at this. Here's the last thing I want to show you. So let's say that we are coming down to the bottom of a tree, the trunk like this, and this actually is a good example because you could see the roots coming around it. So down on my trunk down here, I might have something like this. But then I might just add a little something back here. You see, that's gonna, oh, now where did that go? There it is. That's gonna add a little something in the back there. You see that? I might add some surface lines here to suggest the ground plane. All right, so let me show that to you a little bit larger. Let me erase this. Is that good? So drawing your trunk, think where the roots come down. You might come down like this. There's some shadow of your trunk right there. And then don't draw this, just think of it. Think of that base, right? You might have another branch or root coming here. And then over there might be this guy here. This might come out in the back there. Surface lines are great. Going around the base. Add a little value there. Okay. So you're using, when I'm drawing the trunks, I'm thinking of overlap. I'm thinking of surface lines. Look at those surface lines there. Okay. And I'm thinking of, like, you know, a circle that's going back in perspective. Almost like a wagon wheel that's down on the ground. All right, I think that's going to do it. I'm going to leave you now. You like that? I got so many tree puns. Listen, this is Kurt. I'm a dad who draws. This is week number 3 in tree drawing. For sure, we have one more to go and maybe one more after that. So keep going. I want to see your trees posted in Facebook today, okay? Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Great job, everyone. Great job, Arjun and Leah. Thanks for tuning in, and everyone else. Bye-bye.